Where are the roots in race? A word unwittingly so rooted in hate that a mere act of apparent hate unwillingly, sorry. Where are the roots in race? A word unwittingly so rooted in hate that a mere act of apparent kindness unknowingly seals the fates of those not supremely white to be lesser faces, to be less worthy of a home and all its spaces. Trying to locate the right shade of beige for the title British, hoping this inherent racism is just a phase as my daughter casually accepts that England isn't a place which accepts her as its own. Disowned. Trying to figure out where she's from because Kashmir is a home she's never known. Cyprus just a holiday destination. But despite the Queen's English tipping her tongue, England being her home from the minute I crowned, the hospital she was born in South London found, she is told she is too brown. Too brown. Too brown, she is told she is too brown, and such is the innocence of a child that rather than allow a frown to grace her face, she smiles and is thankful for the friends she has from here who have said that they don't care if she isn't. Underlying racism is always present. Tragedy isn't just found in violent protests on the streets. Tragedy isn't just found when asylum seekers capsize at sea. Tragedy isn't just found when those seeking refuge are locked away in detention centres. And tragedy isn't just found in the mouths of hate preachers outside courts or in town centres. Tragedy isn't just found in council cuts. Tragedy isn't just found in the empty bellies of kids with families who are down on their luck. Tragedy isn't just found in misinformation spread by mass media, and tragedy isn't just found in hate-fueled mass hysteria. Tragedy isn't just found on the sides of buses screaming that we don't belong. Tragedy isn't just found when diluting your culture is seen as wrong. Tragedy isn't just found on the disapproving faces of parents when we bring a black boyfriend home. And tragedy isn't just found in white on coloured racism alone. It breeds. Whatever shade your face is, I can almost guarantee that at some point tragedy and hate has held it. Admit it. When our white friends used to play out past dark, growing resentment at our parents who wouldn't let us play that part. Preaching acceptance and understanding for anyone trans or gay whilst reassuring your mates that your kids could never be that way. Voting Conservative because you don't believe in handouts. Shaking your head at every man sat on a street corner asking for help with his handout. Preaching that it's only fair that one day this free healthcare runs out, but you round up by 25p the amount you pay for your burger at McDonald's in the name of charity. Pushing for a points-based immigration system like deserving better can be turned into a game. Where is your shame? Don't tell me that just because you've been discriminated against, you aren't discriminating against anything you don't consider virtue. Living in a world where liberty really is just a statue. In a world with nations which still stone individuals for not conforming. Sexuality, race, gender, faith lost in a system in which conformity reigns more powerfully than the monarchy which colonized the world. Do not tell me equality is key when it has been thrown in the face of my little girl. British, born and bred. We are in no way past the years of being shouted Paki at or having kebabs thrown at our heads. We're searching for peace in pieces of a confused culture which doesn't understand that love is found where mixed and spread. Purity cannot be found in your blood or in the thoughts in your head. Open your hearts. Make today the start. Be the change, stand up and take part. Take ownership for the mistakes you have made and the ability you have to change the future. Do it for her, for our innocent daughter. Thank you. Yeah, that was my first piece. My daughter Sophia has been experiencing racism since she was 4. The world's fucked. And it's all very kind of snide, commenty stuff that kids don't necessarily mean badly, but they've heard it from somewhere, right? She now celebrates her skin as brown and beautiful, which we are here for, and try to build her every day. Now, I try to raise my kids the way that I know I needed to be raised when I was younger, because actually, whilst I'm very proud of my culture and my heritage, Mental health was something that was never to be discussed, never to be spoken about. If things were only bad if they looked bad, so don't let them look bad. And that's something that really affected me a lot as I grew up. So trigger warning, this piece is called Memoirs. It speaks on some of the traumas from my childhood. So please, if you're not emotionally available, do step back for 3.5 minutes or so. Okay. Broken adults aren't so easy to fix. I've lived this. Years of therapy and thousands of prescription drugs, and I'm only now learning that hurt should replace numb, then be overruled by love I pour into my own cup. Home isn't just a place, and blood doesn't always mean family. Doing everything within my power to break the cycle I've been chained to, raised with torture as a form of discipline, but I have moved on to attachment parenting. My kid's in my bed, I'm told, is a rod for my own back, but my childhood was spent screaming into a pillow, and for them, I take a rod over that. Beaten thighs and broken smiles. Beaten down for being wild, a broken mind and failing health became a soul which did destroy itself. Raising children should be the case, yet somehow the right thing just isn't innate for too many as of late. Kids dragged up around drugs and guns, and politicians call council slums the problem, but whether or not you should have been allowed to breed does not translate to the postcode you chose to call home. Picture the kid who flew through school and got all the grades, the A stars and the A's. I hid bruises in books and avoided the looks by being a wallflower. I'd wake up each morning panic-stricken. Nightmares about dad's machete slick with blood, but if I let my floodgates open and run, then my tears would run faster than I had ever been able to make myself. Emotions are waves which come and go with an ebb and flow much more consistently than a drug addict parent. All the marks were a tell, but I spoke so well and didn't give the teachers hell, so I slipped through the net. The devastation I found in the hundreds of tablets which could not caress me into my final lullaby was heartbreaking. Cuts which almost needed stitches, I have covered with pretty pictures, and at least people notice these now. Bulimia had me pounds from hospitalization, left to waste away till the day my mum had pounds to pay for a sink I had blocked with vomit I'd nearly choked to death on. It didn't take a plumber long to fix that, but my eating disorder was fixed with a quick slap, and isn't that something to make you sick to your stomach? Being sent to A&E after waiting to throw myself in front of a train. I remember that. Turning to drugs to mask the pain. I remember that. I was vulnerable, trying to fit in after years of trying to blend in, not wanting their touch on my skin, gritting my teeth as he slipped in. I remember that. 26 years of trying to feel clean again. I remember that. I'm not over that. Realization hits like a thunderclap. Backtrack on that. I'm no longer trapped. Home is not a place or a destination or an end. My blood doesn't signal the end. It is a beginning, and each scar I own is proof of that. You see, at some point, love had started hurting. And at that precise moment in time, I felt I deserved it, that I'd been too much and not done enough, and it was time to just tough it up and swallow my pride, despite my pain burning furiously at my insides like a martyr to an unworthy cause. Jaw clenched at every non-accidental touch and easily identifiable, held for too long pause and seconds of uncomfortability, which felt like years, but still, I held back the tears. Sometimes I want to forget myself, check myself, try to fall in love with myself instead of wreck myself, feel the heat rise as my tears dance their way down the side of my face in a silent race to the finish line, accept and embrace every emotion that is mine, do not apologize. They say you can't untrain a brain condition to feel pain from a young age. Well, watch me shine. My body may have been beaten, soul shaken, but my mind is mine to be taken, and like a phoenix, I will rise. This is my story to tell, and I tell it well. So I will grace the stage with my presence as I learn life's lessons. What a time to finally want to be alive. Thank you. So one of the reasons why that piece is quite important for me, it was the second piece I ever shared, I think, but writing about mental health and then going and speaking about it, I had family sort of texting, calling me like, cuz this never happened. I was like, no, it did. No, this didn't happen. And it was just, we didn't see it, so it didn't happen. But actually it's also, you weren't allowed to show it, so don't show it now. I think within different cultures, you know, especially within my culture, I'm Turkish Cypriot, village mentality, not that that's something to excuse. Appearance is everything, you know. So I do a lot of what I do now, speaking out on mental health, representing my culture and where I'm from, to normalize what should be the case instead of hiding behind appearance. Yeah. So my final piece, I wrote this for Stephen Lawrence Day and have only shared it once before, so bear with me and my scraps of paper. And I actually shared it for Gary's event. And this is called British. Take back your white. I don't want it. Take back your westernized lies I learned to lie through, because if white is right, I'm going left. Dictated direction by the West, take back your white. You could never make it mine. These standards designed to alienate my own cultured life and replace it like for like with the British type. See, I'm British, not quite the white shade of right. Not quite the right shade of white. Somehow the darker the skin, the less applicable rights. There is no independence upon a system in which free minds pay a price. Stop and search for control. They don't need a weapon to hold when Her Majesty's service is found tied to strings pulled faster than the guns they claim we hold. They shoot their shot through imposed systems when caught in court, the ball apparently left in their court to make the change, but their equality is not the same. We are not here to live the dreams of the elite, those few percent who kick the dirt from their feet to meet the 48% who make up the working class and the further 15% who come last, categorized to find their position at the breaking point of the poverty line. Do not tell us your unapologetic racism does not exist when you are directly unaffected because of the lack of melanin in your skin. Tell me. Why, when 86.1% of the British population is white, income distribution in kind finds 3 times as many Black households on said poverty line than we would find even in the top 10%? Where officers armed with intent are sent without consent to break the peace within our broken pieces. The truth is, unbleached skin has had to fight for so long that the pigmentation they use as target practice has become our armor. Over half of households not fitting into boxes reserved for the white being hit that much harder. Society always worked to double jeopardize their lives to cover the force. And I do not trust in the false force used by a puppet force, rigid rule in bending the laws whilst broadcasting claims of the non-existence of institutional racism proven to be false. Doesn't time fly now that we're back in the dark ages? From 1998 till now, steps forwards are undone when the real damage doesn't come from knives and guns, but at the hands of the ones trained to serve and protect. It is time to break the slate they thought they had wiped clean. It is time to order a cease and desist to expose gammon gates, pigs, and hang them by the strings they still pull, because racially motivated crime shouldn't have to result in murder for a case to be seriously tried. Truth determined from the inside and covered with lies. How many more to die? Either at the time or after a lifetime of being inside. What truth was there to find in Saul's mind? Another opportunity to facilitate the facility of black on black crime whilst we await our claim of retrial. Their defense is to attack. Forcing people onto the street so even the rush of the wind they find is gentrified. Disproportionate extortion of ethnicity, oppression of our colour, painting over chips and cracks using history to whip us back to make Britain white again. So take back your white, I don't want it. I said, take back your white. It doesn't want me.